Thank you for having me today. So honored to be here, and I hope everybody have a good day. Maybe you guys already know so much about me. My background is everywhere on the internet. I'm kind of so quite nervous to be here today. I'm going to like a little bit about myself. Long story short about my background. One day at a time, and one step at a time. It's my message today, and it's mean a lot to me. Um, because I was a former hacker and I got arrested in the US for almost 7 years due to my cybercrime. But back then, I was like very young at that time, so young and too dumb, like, so I made a lot of mistakes. Then I went to prison and got arrested. But I was so suffering at that time during my first 2 months in prison. Then I was thinking about killing myself. I say I told with my own self, right? There's no way for me to get out except to to feed myself by like finish my life. But then I think about my loved ones. I say I have to keep going. So that's why I choose the message today, one day at a time, because I don't want to think about too much about tomorrow, because tomorrow is not going to happen yet. So I have to live for today. And the powers of permission. I mean, the power of persistence. You can see my journals in here, right? This is the picture of all of my journals in prison. I spent 7 years in prison. That's how many journals I got. Over 1,000 pages. I was writing just keep myself busy. That's my main thing. But at the same time, I went to library and I talked to the people. I learned a lot, not only for myself, but from other people's experience and story. So I wrote a lot about my experience every day, what I learned from book and magazines, from the libraries. So slow process, but it's still process. I'm thinking about my future, even though I don't know when I get home. At that time, I got like 45 years in prison, but I worked myself down until like 13 years. When I got my final sentence in 2015, I keep myself busy, just keep writing, keep planning for my future. And most of the things that I wrote in my journal until now, I got like 70% of that. I be able to achieve that. So I keep going. And I keep writing until 2019. Thanks God, um, I got released immediately in 2019 after like almost 7 years in prison. And I'm so surprised about that. And I remember that time I didn't do anything. I just went to the court, to the federal court. And the federal judge, he asked me, just tell my story. And then I told my story for the whole 3 hours. That's it. And then when I got home, I say, yeah, hopefully this time, something miracle happened. And it did. Facing the truth. That's how I went, I have to face myself. Maybe could be the first and also the last one. And the key words in here is how. It's not about how you do it, but it's about like honestly, open-mindedness and willingness. I talk about a lot about this to many others event as well too, because this is very important keys of how I face the truth. A lot of us, right? It's very difficult for us to face the truth because we don't want to be honest to ourselves, and we have done a lot of things that maybe we feel ashamed about that. But before I go home, I told to myself, and I kneel down to the floor. I say, man, this time I have to be honest to myself. And I I say all the thing to myself, only the thing that I have done wrong in the past, even the thing that I have, nobody know about that, even me. So when I say to myself all of that, I feel good, I feel free, and that's the first time I feel free in spirit. And in a way that for everybody to understand, right? When we have a freedom, the freedom is about spiritual. It's not about physical. Even I, at that time, I was still behind the bars, still like in the four wall of corners, like so. That's when I pick up a phone and I call my mom. I tell mom, I feel like I'm being home right now. Even I haven't get home yet. I'm still in prison at that time, 2019. And just a week or 2 weeks later, my lawyer, the public defender, he called me and he said, "Yeah, Hieu, you back up the stuff, you go home." I say, "Wow, I didn't expect that because all I did in the court, I just went to the court and told my story." So he said, "Yeah, you go home." So I say, "Man, I couldn't believe it." So I back up all my stuff, all my journals. Yeah. And I say, "Man, this time I have to take this chance and go home, do a better, to be a better person, do a better things." I build my new perspective to my journal, all my journals. And I say, writing, it keep me, it kind of like a very good hobby. The more I write about something, when I look at that, like 1 or 2 years later, I look at again, I say, yeah, maybe this is something that I really want to do because it remind me, because I keep writing about that. So when you have a goal, right, and when you want to plan for your future, keep writing your journal, because one day when you look at back, that's your future, and that's the thing that you rarely want to do. That's why you keep writing. Maybe you writing in a different way, different language, but at end up it's still the same thing, the same goal. So I was thinking like, I remember at that time when I was still in incarceration, a lot of time that I, very struggling, depression. But I learned a lot from books and magazine. And at one point, I went to kind of like psychology class, and the teachers, she told me, if I want to change something, I have to change my mind first, the way I think. So when I change the way I think, everything around me, it just feel positive. It just feel a lot of energy. So, when I change my mind, even when I was still in prison, I feel like, everything normal. I'm still live on earth. Technically, I'm still live on earth. I'm not living this world yet. I'm still have a chance. I still got a lot of chance to change myself, to be a better person. This is me. This is me when I was in prison around 2017. You know, not only like writing journal, go into school, but I keep my mind busy. One day at a time. I keep my mind busy to like doing exercise, finding for me a good a good job in prison. Even the first paycheck that I got, like a legit paycheck that I got, that when I was in prison. So I say, just day by day I go, one day at a time. And it's just like that until like from 2013 until 2019. And just time fly by so fast, one step at a time. This is the time when I was in 2015, 2014, when I was in therapeutic community. That's kind of a community that I feel like family. You know why? Because in that environment, it's kind of like a very strict environment. That's where the people like, have addiction. But I have no addiction. When I got an interview with the programmer, the one who run this program, She told me, I have any addiction like drugs, like alcohol. I said, no, I have no addiction. But she say, okay, you find out one addiction for me, please. So I say, yeah, I have addiction to money. So she say, yeah, okay, let's join this program and see how you can handle this. So I stay in a room, a smaller room like this, with 70 other, 17, yeah, 17 other men. So we live in a bunks, in a small dome. So I stay over there, like 3 months. The first 3 months, I passed the first 3 months. The first month always the very difficult months because you know why? You have no contact with other people outside. You stay inside, no TV, no nothing. So a lot of people they have to ring the bell because they want to quit. So because in that program you have a choice. You can quit anytime you want, but you can stay. You will get some like some good feedback when you go to the code. You get some certificate. You can reduce your time and stuff like that. But the bad thing is I was like kind of like non-citizenship. I have no citizen. So when I joined that program, I have no benefit. But I feel happy when I joined that program because I learned a lot from other people. So I stayed there. I'm so happy that I was stay there for 9 months over there. I'm the longest person. The one that stayed there the longest one. And then I become a mentor to other people when they come to the program. And a lot of people they addicted to like drugs and alcohol. So I share with them my story and I encourage them to keep going so they can be able to pass the 3 months challenge. Any like US citizen, if they be able to pass the 3 months, they be able to get like 1 year time off. So I'm so happy that to be there and to learn from other people at the same time to learn the skill that one step at a time. And I remember one of the most important thing that I learned from that program is the first thing to do in the morning, you have to do the small baby step first. You have to get up from your bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing you have to do is you have to fold a nice and neatly blanket, and that's the first thing to do. So I learned that when we do something, we have to do from small things first. If you can't do the small thing, how can you do the big things? And that's what I learned. So I feel grateful today because all the time that happened in the past, to me, it's like a school. It's not terrible like everybody think about that. So it's just the way we think. So when I feel, the first time I feel grateful, I be grateful is when I in prison. A lot of us, we may thinking about like being thankful, but to me, being grateful every day is much better. You feel everything around you, everybody, it's just kind of like everybody is just like we are all human beings. We have to get connected. We have to learn from each other, and we be grateful every day to have a breath to live, to have food to eat. That's all. That's all we live every day, right? So be grateful every day is kind of like that what you have in your heart. But when you be thankful, that's what you have in your mind. So every morning when you wake up, you get up, you go to the to the garden or you put your hand up in the cloud. You be grateful, and that's how you start up your day. And that's how you can handle any things that challenge you during the day easily. So I'm grateful to be myself today. I'm still a hacker. Technically I'm still a hacker. and I'm still hacking people, but I'm hacking the scammer. At the time I'm talking today, I'm kind of like a terrorist hunter, a cyber criminal in investigator. A lot of time I have to involve like into like hacking to be able to gathering information, evidence from the scam website to be able to help the victims, to be able to provide more evidence to arrest these the bad actors. This you guys see this picture? I love this picture because it's kind of like a doll, right? But the left side is the dark side, the right side is the bright side. And a lot of us, right? The dark side always doing bad things easy, but doing good things is sometimes very difficult, especially money. And that's what I was before. I chose the dark side, but end up, it's very terrible. And I learned a very expensive lesson. So today I went to another door, that the bright side, with a lot of trees and go very easy. I sleep better than 10 years ago. Even I was making a lot of money back in the day. But today, even though I don't have that kind of money like before, but it's much better. So it's kind of like when I feel enough, when I learn from that, I see every day we should be grateful, be happy about that, and then you live your life and maintain your positive outlook, and the positive energy will come to you. Trust me. Okay. I want to give some message from my final message. Every day give us a new page. Every day a new page. When you fail, you get up, you stand up, you rest up, and you tell you to yourself, never give up. That's what my god grandmother, the one who come to the jail, she is kind of like a psychology teacher, and she came to the church. She told me about that, and I want to say this message to everybody: never give up. When you fail, you get up, you stand up, you rest up, and you tell yourself to yourself, you never give up. Thank you very much.